So the first one, which is the most well-known one, is Genesis 5:21. There's actually quite a few verses to read, so it'd be really well for you to be looking at the verses while I read them and get the most of that. Genesis 5:21 says, "And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." That's a live human being that suddenly was, as you'll see in Hebrews, translated from being a physical, breathing human being on earth to sitting in heaven in front of the throne of God. And that is probably the best type of what you're going to get to go through. It's just that he got to himself, and we're going to do it with a lot of other people. If you look over at Hebrews 11:5, this is a confirmation of it. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death and was not found because God had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased God. So 3 times the word translated is used there. So basically changing one thing into another. And that's exactly what happened to Enoch. He was a living human being, and then all of a sudden he was a righteous soul in heaven. So that's the first in the Bible. It's a type, but it actually happened. That's a little comforting. Okay, the second guy is Elijah. And look at 2 Kings 2:11. "And it came to pass as they still went on and talked that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire and parted them both asunder. And Elisha went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, My father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in 2 pieces." So here was Elijah and Elisha together, and the Lord actually took Elijah up in a whirlwind and dropped him off in different places. And then after a little while, then he took him all the way up to heaven. But it was clearly a living human being that was immediately translated into a righteous soul in heaven. And Elijah's coming back in the tribulation as a representation of an Old Testament saint. But he actually experienced pretty much the same thing that you're going to experience. Enoch was translated. Elijah went up in a whirlwind. Maybe it was a little different type of trip, but it was fast.